Thank you. Our national parks belong to the American people, and they should be open, along with every other essential part of the government. I have twice met with honor flights this month that brought our veterans to see the World War II memorial. For some, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it was an honor to shake the hands of these service members. Their service should not be politicized, and they should not be used as pawns. Our Nevada veterans were not stopped by barricades. In fact, they were warmly greeted and welcomed by park rangers, allowing access to the memorial for First Amendment activities. And I'd like to thank the Park Service Rangers for their courtesies. You know, half the truth is often a whole lie. And I'm sorry that the representative from Texas is not here, because one of the days that I was there, he was there. And for him to say that those veterans were turned away or that the park rangers treated them with disrespect is not the case. Now, I represent Nevada's 4th Congressional District, and we are home to several national parks, including the Lake Mead National Recreation Area, which is the 4th most visited unit in the national park system of over 400. National parks are a vital part of our tourism industry and our economic base. In between votes on last Saturday and Monday, I was able to go back home to my district to meet with my constituents. And during one of our town halls, the former superintendent of the Lake Mead National Recreation Area came, and this is what he told me. First, the blame should not be placed on the National Park Service or the individual park, but clearly on the shoulders of Congress that caused the shutdown in the first place. The last thing the National Park Service wants to see is our precious parks closed to the American public. He went on to share that since the closure, the park has already had to cancel 7 events with an expected participation of 1,925 participants. And there's several additional events in the next 2 weeks with over 10,000 expected participants, having an effect on our local economy, on jobs, and on tourism. So, Mr. Chairman, I ask for unanimous consent at this time to enter Mr. O'Neill's entire statement into the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. Director Jarvis, thank you for your service. Do you agree with Mr. O'Neill's statement that the Park Service professionals would like to do their job and open the parks to the public?
There's nothing on this planet that we would prefer to do than to get back to work and reopen all 401 national parks.
Ms. Simon, I talked about some of the impacts to local communities surrounding national parks like Lake Mead. Can you share other impacts that you've experienced and how it's affecting the private sector?
Yes, just in the first week, we surveyed all of our members, and our tour operators reported collective losses estimated at $114 million just in that first week. So, projecting that out in terms of what they have experienced so far, as well as what they're continuing to experience, because they're having to reroute tours without an end date in sight. They're having to reroute tours on into the future, and will be experiencing financial implications to having to find alternatives to those tours.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, let me just close by saying one of my colleagues on the other side said something about Director Jarvis's failure to do his job. Well, if Director Jarvis or any of the other public service professionals have failed for having to carry out the shutdown, then what does that say about the Republican members who caused the shutdown in the first place?
Gentleman yields back his time. Gentleman from Virginia, Mr.